Doktor,
Ya, ya.
mungkin dalam seminit lagi kita boleh mulakan?
Boleh, boleh. InsyaAllah.
Boleh ya? Okay, baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah illazi hadana lihaza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadanallah. Our respected speaker, Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Haji Cik Azmi, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of the IIUM community, let us begin our program by reciting Kitab Al-Fatihah. Auzubillah. Amin. It is our pleasure to thank all of you for joining the Integrity Talk No.3 2023, organized by Integrity and Governance Unit Management Services Division IIUM. To all attendees, please be informed that this talk can be followed through online Zoom and live streaming on the YouTube channel of IIUM MSD Competency Development. A friendly reminder to all the participants to sign in your attendance and fill in the evaluation form within 24 hours after the end of this program. We thank you again for your participation. It is also our great honor and pleasure to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Haji Cik Azmi, Legal Advisor of University Science Malaysia, to share with us his expertise and experience as an academician and administrator in the field of legal practitioner, both in Malaysia and in Adelaide, Australia. Dr. Khairul Anwar will deliver a talk entitled Plagiarism versus Copyright. What do you need to know? Respected guests and gentlemen, let me read a brief biography of our speaker. Dr. Khairul Anwar is currently the legal advisor of University Science Malaysia. Prior to joining USM in 2007, he was an advocate and solicitor with more than 25 years of experience as a legal practitioner, both in Malaysia and in Adelaide, Australia. His specific areas of practice are related to public university governance, intellectual property rights, medical legal, integrity, and corruption. He is the current chairman of the Legal Advisory Council of Public University Malaysia, the chairman of Association of Certified Integrity Officer, ACEIO, Penang State, and the advisor to the Sarawak State Government on the Ombudsman. He is also a certified legal drafter of the Royal Institute of Public Administration, RIPA, International London, certified arbitrator, Malaysia chapter, certified professional intellectual property manager, CPIPM, from the Malaysian Institute of Management, MIM, certified integrity officer, CEIO, from the Anti-Corruption Commission Malaysia, MACC, certified ombudsman from Pepperdine University, USA, and International Ombudsman Association, and also legal entity appointed representative, LEAR, of European Commission. At the international level, he is actively involved as an invited speaker in the field of intellectual property and plagiarism under the umbrella of the UNESCO ISTIC training workshop on technopreneurship in various countries, including Thailand, Brunei, Kuwait, France, Egypt, Sudan, and Trinidad and Tobago, in addition to training and speakers related to academic integrity and the Ombudsman in Paris, Stockholm, Helsinki, as well as Seattle and New York in the United States. He also is our IIUM alumni in 1998. With this, I respectfully call upon Dr. Khairul Anwar bin Haji Cik Azmi to deliver his talk. Please welcome, Doctor.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all. Selamat pagi kepada semua. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Tuan Eddie, all the respected listeners here. Before we start, I should be proudly say that I'm the alumni of IIUM. Of course, at that point of time, back in 1997, my matric card is 1994, 94 something. Yeah, I enrolled at the matriculations at Lembah Kelang in 1992, main campus at 1994, graduated in 1997. Start my legal practice back in 1998, as been mentioned by Mr. Moderator. Yes, one of the proud alumni of.
Dia pakai borang kan? Borang ini.
Okay, I'm one of the proud alumni back then, and if you like to get some details whether I'm the Gombakians or not, I'm the first batch from my faculty law, Kuliah of Law, that has been that we moved to Gombak back in 1997. I'm the first batch at the time, third year, second sem. So yeah, at that point of time, if you're not sure which batch that first has moved to Gombak, so it's a law program back in 1997. I think sometimes in August 1997, if not mistaken. So that's a little bit of background of me. I practice in Malaysia, in Penang, and in Australia, in Adelaide, for 4 years, come back, and then continue my doctorate in UUM. And then, of course, my details, my areas of studies on integrity as well as academic integrity. So today, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, we would like to share the USM experience on plagiarism. So I would like to share my slides, PowerPoint slides, share. I hope you can see the slides now.
Alhamdulillah, Doctor.
Okay, sure. My voice is clear, loud and clear. Am I right? Okay. First of all, we shall start to share with you about these plagiarisms and copyright. Of course, there are details, there are terms, there are laws in regard to plagiarisms and copyright. Sometimes you may be confused with plagiarisms and copyright. What are the differences between these two, and how it's going to be applied in our university ecosystem? So I confirm that most of my slides are USM related, but it has been shared with other universities as well, because sometimes you need to understand or to know better about the practice from other universities. So this is why I didn't change my slide. Almost every quarter of the year, I will be presenting these topics to our postgraduate students as well as to our new lecturers in USM. So it's a topic that I have been doing for the past, I think, 8 years. And of course, there are issues here and there about these plagiarisms and copyright, which I would like to share. And if any one of you that who have any questions on that particular slide, just stop me. You can ask immediately, or you may also write down in the chat box so that I can pick up and answers you at the end of our session. I anticipate that our session to stop at least at 11:40 so that I have ample time, 20 minutes, in order to take up Q&A from your sides. So we shall start now about plagiarisms and copyright. Hold on a second. Plagiarisms, you know the terms plagiarisms. In Bahasa also plagiarisma. In English is called plagiarisms. In Bahasa also we used to name it as ciplakan. But what are other terms that you need to understand about plagiarisms? Okay, to show how serious plagiarism it is an offense, we also says that it is an academic crime or jenayah academic. This is so serious, whereby this crime, even though it cannot be charged in court, but it can be have a lot of implication if it happened within the university ecosystem. For example, a particular lecturer can be terminated from the service or can be demoted from the current post that he or she is holding, simply because of he or she is practicing or been found guilty for plagiarism. So, in other words, it is also called as an academic crime, jenayah academic. But jenayah academic being tried in the university ecosystem only. Since I have been doing this for plagiarism for many years, we also have been settling some of the plagiarism issue in Indonesia. Do you know that what are the terms used in Indonesia for plagiarism? Okay, in Indonesia, it's been called academic adultery, zina academic. So how serious it is? Because in some of my talk, some of the listeners said that I remember your talk because you have mentioned about something to do with adultery. Yes. In Indonesia, it is also known as zina academic or academic adultery. Some ask me whether it can be used as khalwat or not. No, it cannot be used as close proximity. No, it is only known as adultery. How you mix it and how you say that this is really unbecoming conducts on academics. So in Indonesia, they call it as zina academic or academic adultery. Okay, so just to show how disgusting the act, if it happened to any of academicians or any of the students who are doing their PhD or master's degrees by research. Okay, in USM, whether we tolerate or not this plagiarism, of course, any universities didn't tolerate any of its plagiarism issues within the university compound. Okay, so you understand that plagiarism cannot be tolerated. Plagiarism need to be penalized. We need to stop the act of plagiarism. Simply, it is similar to bribery. It's similar to rasuah. Sama sahaja. Plagiarism, if someone is committing plagiarism, is something to do similar to the rasuah academic as well. So in this announcement to the public or to the university's community in USM, we also include free riding. If you look at the second last paragraph, there is a free riderism, meaning that free riding. Free riding is something to do that someone has not contributed anything to a particular publications, but his or her name appears into the publication. The gravity of free riding is much more serious if it involves siblings or husband and wife. For example, seorang husband, seorang wife with inserting the names of their spouse, even though the spouse is totally different area of expertise. Has nothing to do with the publication, has nothing to do with the area, but he or she has put the spouse name into their publications. It's simply free riding. It means that even though without any commitment or without any contributions to the publications, they still inserting their spouse or their siblings name in order to get more KPI, in order to get to be calculated as a publication for promotion later. So it's a big no-no in USM. However, in this case of USM, we do have policy against plagiarism, but we don't have policy against free riding. Free riding, we deal it accordingly during the interview for promotions. Okay, we don't have the free riding because sometimes we do agree that husband and wife, they are in the same area, and of course they work together. So that's why we try to develop back in 2013 the free ridings policy, but at the end of the day, it doesn't go through. It doesn't realize, simply because there are many technical issues on free riding. Unlike plagiarism is straightforward. You plagiarize, and of course, it is an offense. He or she, our staff can be penalized for that, can be punished for the offense. Okay, look at these details of what USM have. USM do have university policies against plagiarism. This is the front page of the book, okay? And we do have in both language, Bahasa, and also in English. If you notice that, why USM didn't use university policy, plagiarism policy, okay? Originally, back in 2013, the name of the policy is a plagiarism policy. However, there was what we say that suggestions that if you are talking about plagiarism policy, sometimes it means that you are promoting plagiarism. That's why we the second version back in 2017, we insert the word against, okay, or the word terhadap, because we are not promoting plagiarism, but we are against ciplakan, we are against plagiarism. That's why our USM policy is not Universiti Sains Malaysia ciplakan or plagiarism policy, but we have dasar Universiti Sains Malaysia terhadap ciplakan or against plagiarism. So even the word against or terhadap can be very important, simply because it can shows it can be interpreted the other way around if we are using it wrongly. Okay, these are the details about plagiarism policy in USM. Okay, we do have the plagiarism policy since 2013. In fact, I'm there to announce to you that we are among the first universities in Malaysia that do have a proper policy on plagiarism. We do have 60 pages policy on plagiarism, which I'm going to narrate or share with you what are the details and how we come to a formula on how to ascertain whether a particular thesis or a particular publication, a particular article amount to plagiarism or not. Okay, because we do create a level 1 until level 4 on the degree or on the gravity of the seriousness of the plagiarism. Otherwise, the first version in 2013, there were many loopholes in implementing.
Oh, dia dah punya tahun ni. Okay, sempatlah kita. Awak dapat tak? Tak ada ke? Dia kan pergi sekolah.
Sister Qurani Ain. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have this policy back in 2013, but I have to admit to you that there were many uncertainties, particularly in implementing it. There are loopholes, ada benda yang tidak lengkap, and as a result, we have to amend it. And the second amendment was done in 2017. I can assure you, since 2017 until today, we have implementing it for 7 to 8 years already. We managed to do all the improvements. There were no more loopholes. We are implementing it rightly, and simply because of that, there was no amendment further other than the versions back in 2017. So we do have this, the second version, the revised version back in 2017. Okay, who are the policy custodian? The policy custodian is the Deputy Vice Chancellors of Academic and International Affairs. I think they are equal post there in IUM. Okay, and of course the office is the responsible policy officers. However, in terms of how to implement it, in order to do a lot talks to the students, to the staff, new staff particularly, that is under the responsibility of 3 officers, meaning that is one of the responsibility goes to me, legal office. The others also been done by Institute of Postgraduate Studies and also Academic Management Office. Lately, they have been tasked for all the awareness on the plagiarism issues under my office, legal office. So we have been doing it regularly. This is what we have been sharing with you this morning as well. So remember, we have the clear and loud policy since 2013. Why we enact or why we do the draftings in 2013? Simply, there was a case in court involving one local Malaysian universities in court, whereby the court has said during the decisions that the universities need to have a guideline for plagiarism to all the students. As a result of that case back in 2012, University Science Malaysia has been start drafting and crafting it, and we managed to start the first version in 2013. So if you ask why University Science Malaysia drafting this plagiarism policy, simply because it was because of court case asking all the Malaysian universities to enact or to have a law on plagiarism as a guideline. I will share with you that case of Fauzilah Saleh versus University Malaysia Terengganu at the later stage of this talk. So USM also have a code of good practice for postgraduate research studies, which include particularly 1/4 of the contents on the plagiarism policy. We extract it out and put it as a code of good practice. So for postgraduate research, they may not be referring to our plagiarism policy because it's totally different book, different policy. But in order to ensure that they are fully aware about the principles of USM on plagiarism, the plagiarism issue, we do incorporate 1/4 of our contents in the plagiarism policy into our USM code of good practice. So what I would like to suggest to IIUM, even though you may have your plagiarism policy as well, but please ensure that it is also been conveyed effectively to the postgraduate, because postgraduate, they won't go for many reference. They go just by one book, whereby in USM we do have a code of good practice book, and that's why we insert in the plagiarism policy, how to avoid it, etc., into our code of good practice. It's about 3 to 4 pages appearing in our code of good practice. So what is the plagiarism policy all about? Okay, of course you understand plagiarism is something to do with copying others and claim as yours, etc. But if you look at the definitions of plagiarism by Oxford University, okay, this is about copying and paraphrasing other people's work into your own work without full acknowledgement. So the main work here is that full acknowledgement. So if we copy and paste, but we give a due acknowledgement, we do the citations properly, is it will amount to plagiarism or not? Okay, in this case, if you are doing that, it will not amount to plagiarism. But you cannot do the whole citation for the whole of your thesis, the whole of your article, without inserting or claiming your original ideas. So it won't become any academic articles or etc. Your thesis won't be considered as new or won't pass in the viva voce, simply because you are taking the whole lot from the other people's work, and even though you put citation, so your thesis won't be the new thesis or the new things that you discover. So in this case, what I would like to say is that plagiarism is always about acknowledgement. if you do a proper acknowledgement, it won't consider as plagiarism. That's the first principle. However, in your particular thesis, your particular article, you cannot do the whole lot on the, let's say, 3 to 4 or 5 pages or 100 pages based on the citations. You need to have the new knowledge incorporated into your thesis or into your article. Okay, that's why how to avoid plagiarism is simple. Just do the full acknowledgement of the citation. University of Cambridge define plagiarism as submitting once your own work, even though without you have intent to deceive or not, but you're taking other people's work without due acknowledgement. It's something to do with due acknowledgement as well. Okay, but what I would like to share with you is our USM definitions. Our USM definition, we combine the whole lot and we try to get the best out of it back in 2013, and we found out that the best definitions for USM at that point of time is that the act of presenting, quoting, copying, paraphrasing, or disseminating ideas, images, processes, works, data, one's own work or another person's work or resources without giving proper acknowledgement, reference, or citations to the original source. Okay, that's what we mean by plagiarism. Okay, since I'm sharing with you the USM definition, I'm sharing with you also about the definitions of free riding. Free riding for USM, write for free, placing one's name in the academic world, especially in research and publication, without any proper contributions. We don't put anything about the relationship, but we put it as without any proper contributions, because it's not necessarily about relationship, but most of the cases that we have is about relationship, husband and wife, or abang adik, suami isteri, tak contribute apa-apa, and they put it the other's name into the research or publications. So this is a very unethical, non-integrity things that happen within our university ecosystem. I will share with you more details after this. Okay, so when we are talking about plagiarism, is it rampant in Malaysia? Some of you may say that tak pernah dengar apa about plagiarism. It's not a big issue. Why IUM would like to organize a proper topic on plagiarism itself? Okay, we now more on the rasuah politik, etc., but not on plagiarism. But look at on this statement by Marianta. I think some of you may know about Marianta, one of the foreigners resides in Malaysia, used to work in few local universities, public universities, and he married to Malaysians, and he's a hardcore writers in some of the newspaper, Arus Perdana, newspaper, News Times, Star, etc. And he said, academic dishonesty is not just an education issue, it's also prevalent within the civil service, business, and even political walks of life within society. Meaning that in this article, he said that it's a rampant academic dishonesty in Malaysia. Impliedly, he's saying, he put it a statistic up to 90%. Okay, plagiarism happened at the undergraduate level. Okay, I didn't quote it, didn't share with you the whole of his articles in the newspaper, but he said that about 90% of the undergraduate, particularly the assignments and the final year projects, are involved in plagiarism. Okay, I would like to comment on that. In USM, we have less than 1% case of plagiarism. To be precise, we have only 0.001% only out of our numbers of students in USM. But maybe his point of view is taking from the final year undergraduate, whereby all of us has been experiencing the undergraduate level, and we know there is a rampant practice of using seniors assignments and claim as ours, claim as yours, etc. So we're going to view later on, to discuss later on how we should whether the final year project or the assignment is considered plagiarism or not in the real issue of higher education. I will touch on that on the later stage, at the later stage later on. Okay, so now we come to the crux of the topics today: plagiarism versus copyright. Okay, I start with something, the main difference between plagiarism versus copyright, so that all of us will understand better before we go on the next slide. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, okay, plagiarism only happen in the higher education, meaning that it only happen in universities. Copyright happens outside the university. So the main difference is this: plagiarism, you cannot allege people, business people, of plagiarism, because plagiarism only happen within the university ecosystem, hanya berlaku dalam universiti. Kalaulah you claim for people's other outside the university, it means that it's copyright. So in this case, what I would like to emphasize here is that plagiarism is always within the university ecosystem. So it's a university, it can be polytechnic, it can even be college community. But does it happen in school? No, it didn't happen in school. Okay, so it happened within the higher education ecosystem, whereby copyright is outside the university's ecosystem, meaning that even though somebody breach of your copyright, curi your copyright, but he is outside from the university and you are the university staff, he steals some of your ideas and make it a prototype outside there and commercialize it, for example, okay, and claim as his. Okay, in that case, you are not happy with him, you want to sue him, you sue him under copyright, because remember, he is an outside person, outside the university ecosystem. So plagiarism, whereby if you are going to allege people, tuduh orang under plagiarism, only the university can decide what to do. There are few options for punishments. One, for example, if it happened, plagiarism happened to the students, PhD and master by research student, okay, during the viva voce. So that student will not be graduating, will not obtain his or her PhD. Okay. If plagiarism happen to an associate professor, okay, that associate professor, that academic staff may be brought over to your disciplinary committees and may be terminated or may be demoted, diturunkan pangkat, may be demoted or may be dibuang kerja. Okay, so this is what happened to USM, whereby I'm going to share with you the cases of USM so that you have some understanding about what will be the implications of plagiarism, what are the implications of copyright. In short, when you are talking about plagiarism, it's always to do with academic work. Mesti disebabkan cerita akademik. If you are talking about business, you are talking about orang curi buku resipi, orang curi prototype, orang curi software dan sebagainya, orang curi drama, orang curi kandungan lagu dan sebagainya, is all copyright. Okay, sebab plagiarism tak boleh berlaku di luar. Plagiarism only happen within the university ecosystem. Itu yang ramai yang not sure what happened if I'm not sure what is the plagiarism. Can I sue people for plagiarism? You cannot sue people for plagiarism. You can lodge report for plagiarism, but if you want to sue people, you sue people under copyright. So in short, it's something like this. If you are talking about plagiarism, ingat mesti dalam sistem akademik. If you want to make money, you want to sue people for compensation for your loss, you rugi, you ganti rugi, damages, etc. you want to sue people or you want to allege people, etc., okay, then it is falls under the copyright. So what happened is that plagiarism, even though it's sub of the copyright, but it only happened within the university ecosystem. Hanya berlaku dalam sistem universiti. So banyak kali dah saya sebut ni. Nanti kita ada quiz sekejap lagi tentang whether it falls under plagiarism ataupun tidak. Okay. Copyright totally different ya. Saya ingat kalau you nak claim for damages, you want to sue for money, you want to sue for your loss, etc., it falls under copyright. For example, a contractor outside, a vendor outside IIUM, you suspect him of breaching your copyright by taking your books and claim as his book, and he sells those books online. So you are not happy because he's making RM 100,000 ringgit Malaysia out of from your original book, whereby he claimed as his book. Okay, so in that case, because he is a vendor or contractor outside IIUM, you have to sue him under the copyright. Plagiarism, you have suspected one academic staff, associate professor, as stealing his student's thesis and publish it as his article. So you suspect this thing happened, and of course you want to lodge a report. You lodge a report under plagiarism, not copyright, because you are lodging report to your own institution or to his institution, other universities as well. You can do, but because of this is an academic or within the university ecosystem, then you have to lodge report under the plagiarism issue. Okay, so this is what the main difference between copyright. So to understand the copyright better, copyright ada akta, has his own act, has his own legislation. Remember, if you look at the bullet number 2, in Malaysia you do have Copyright Act 1987. Okay, plagiarism doesn't have any act. Plagiarism have a policy, have a guideline, etc. So, but it does not an act of parliament. Is a piece of law, a piece of guideline inside the university only. Okay, so that's the other main difference. Okay, so to understand it, copyright has a law. Copyright in bahasa called hak cipta, pelanggaran hak cipta. So your thesis, your articles, your journals, your book falls under the copyright Akta Hak Cipta 1987. Okay, so you now have a better understanding. Remember, copyright outside the university, plagiarism within the university ecosystem. Okay, so in order to understand copyright, okay, you now have some understanding on the copyright. But one of the myth that satu fakta yang selalunya orang confuse, one of the myth is that how to register copyright. I don't know how to register copyright. We want to register copyright. Some says that it cannot be registered, but some says it can be registered. Why? I'm not so sure. Okay, I'm going to start to answer your question with something like this. In Malaysia, we do have Copyright Act 1987. Throughout the world, every respective countries throughout the world have their own Copyright Act 1987. Okay, Copyright Act throughout the world, okay, clearly says that no registration. So for copyright, actually there's no need for you to register it. There's no registrations needed to protect it. However, it is an option for you to register, but not compulsory. Tak wajib untuk register copyright. Dah confused dah. How I'm going tak wajib untuk register. How going to protect myself? I'm going to protect my article. How I'm going to protect my thesis. Okay. So remember, throughout the world there is no law that says that it is compulsory to file or to register the copyright. It is an option. In Malaysia, before 2015, there's no system of registration at all. In 2015, barulah ada MyPo buat option for registrations. Option for registration. Prior to that, tak ada langsung registration for copyright. So what I mean is, okay, now if you have a thesis, you have an article, you have a book, shall you register? No need for you to register. If I want to register, yes, you can register. But if you want to register, there is a cost of 220 ringgit if you are doing it yourself. If you are doing through agent, it's double up the number, the amount. Double up is maybe about 500 ringgit. If you are using the agent, there is many agents outside there, IP agents, intellectual property agents, who can do the registration. They charge you about 500 to 700 ringgit. But if you do yourself, there are a lot of paperwork for you to fill in, and you will incur cost about 220 ringgit. Okay, so you will get this kind of receipt. Where to register it? At Perbadanan Harta Intelek Malaysia. But remember, my main words here, there's no need to register. It's optional for you. Okay, some says that I do have some numbers given by the Perpustakaan Negara, by the National Library. It's not considered as the registration. It's the National Library catalog number only. Okay, it's not considered as registration. Even though in US, United States, there is also a system to register at national level, National Library, I mean, but it's not considered as registration. In Malaysia, the law says that if you want to register, it is an option. You can do it. You can do so by registering it at Perbadanan Harta Intelek Malaysia or MYPO in Jalan Bangsa, or in every respective region. Northern region also have, South region also have, Pantai Timur saya tak pasti. Okay, but you are in Kuala Lumpur, you can do so at the Wisma UOA Bangsa, nearby to your place as well. Okay, so what should I do if there is no system for registrations? You can put the C in the bulatan, the C in the circle. Okay, C stand of course for copyright, but you have come across the C. But some of the audience before said, I'm not so confident. I just put C. What are the speakers trying to say? I just put C, and then you are anticipating, or you are expecting people to understand that is protected. How can they would like to contact me if they want to use it, etc. Remember, the law says just put the C, copyright. Even though if you didn't put the C in the circle, this C is still protected. Because the law says so, the Copyright Act says so. As long as you do it in Malaysia and in writing. The conditions must be in writing or in recording or in tape. In our case, for articles, books and journals, it's all in writing. But if you are still not confident, you want to insert your details, etc., you can do so by copying my material here, my statement here. We call it disclaimer or what, it doesn't matter, but it's a statement there saying that, look, all material in this course is, unless otherwise stated, the property of, put your name, Khairul Anwar Cik Azmi. Copyright and other intellectual property law protect this material, reproduction or transmission of the material in whole or in part in any manner without the prior written consent of the copyright holder is a violation of copyright law. Then put your email address. Do not put your handphone number because it may gone viral. Okay, put your email address, kaha@usm.my, for example. Okay, so these are the samples of copyright that you can use, put it into your articles, your books, etc. But remember, I repeat again, even though you didn't put it, the statement or the C in the circle is still protected. Why? Because the law says so. Okay, do not argue with it, because the law says it's automatically protected upon creation as long as it is made in Malaysia, and second one in writing, so that you can have it as an evidence. So, yeah, boleh.
Questions regarding copyright ni kan.
Yeah.
Kalau kita guna materials available at Canva ke atau apa-apalah yang online tu, so if we use that for example, I wish to print a banner for my kuliah, So I use the materials from Canva kan. Kadang dapat dia punya writing lah, dia punya design from there. So would I be infringing the rights of the author tu ke?
You are breaching the right of copyright, but let me explain further because it is a very there are some legal consequence and may not also have some legal consequence. I will explain to you in details now. However, at the end of my slide also do touch a little bit on this issue as well. Okay, remember the question asked is that if I'm taking the photos, the gambar, the nice photos from the website, from the Google, from any platforms online, do I breach the copyright? The correct or the strict answer is yes, you are breaching the copyright. So in this case, how I'm going to do, because almost the details are online, then I cannot use it. Don't expect me to create or craft something new, something new like that. Okay, remember the law says it's breach of copyright, but while you are all the photos inside the Google, etc., some are free. Some the authors really want just want to put it inside the Google and or they allow people to use it. Those who are strictly not allowed, you have to see if there is a watermark there. Watermark, JT images, GETTY images, Shutterstocks, or something about stock as well. As long as there are watermarks on the particular photo, do not use it without consent because it's all paid photos. I give you an example. Do you think that C in bulatan that I have been using, I'm crafted it? No, I didn't craft it. I take it from online. But this is a free one. Okay, there's nothing watermarks there. Of course, this is damn simple. Sangat-sangat mudah, takkan ada orang nak bayar RM1, even RM1 for that kind of C dalam bulatan. Okay, and some more, C dalam bulatan ni has been created and somehow been used intentionally or automatically been uploaded into Google. Okay, so it's all available for free. So, doctor, if I'm answering to you the correct way, do not take those images with watermarks. That's a big no-no. Okay, because it's all yeah. Okay, that's a big no-no. So do not. That's how I'm going to answer you. As long as there is no watermark, you can still, if somebody claims that you need to pay, you can still have the law on the law to apologize, say sorry, and then you just delete it, omit it, padamkan sajalah. But if you are using that watermark, even though you padam, there will be issues on the liability. They will ask you for money, and at the end of the day, I will strongly suggest to negotiate on the amount only, but you still have to pay because they purposely put it for payment, and then we use it, crop it, and use it as ours. So it's wrong lah. It's wrong. So the myth is something like this. Whatever available in the website is free to use. No. Okay. You need to clearly identify, particularly those yang ada watermark. Watermark ni panggil apa bahasa Melayu ya? Watermark. Okay. Those watermark, do not use it. Okay. So, do plagiarism, copyright need to register? Do we need to register plagiarism? No. Plagiarism, there's no law, there's no acta, there's no act, there's no legislation. Of course, you don't need to do to register plagiarism. So do not ask about, I'm going to register plagiarism, because plagiarism is an offense. Okay, those you are not protecting anything. It is an offense. So do not confuse whether you need to register plagiarism, because a logical answer also is a big no-no. Okay, so I would like to say patent and trademark, you need to register as well. Remember, copyright, no, is an optional. An option for you to register. unlike patent and trademark, you need to register in order to get protections. Okay, so these are the category of copyright that you have. There are 7 categories, but do not go details on item 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 because we are normally dealt with item number 1 only, category number 1 only, which is literature or literary. Okay, so our book stories, our articles, our journals, our books all falls under the category number 1. It can be essays, it can be articles. Remember, on the third group is got articles. If you are talking about books, is on the first group, okay, etc. So they are all protected. Remember, even letters are protected. That's why I said even a page of letter, a page of statement is also protected under copyright as long as it is original, made in Malaysia, and reduced in writing. Something to do in writing. You have to put in writing. So can you protect those inside your brain? I'm going to craft a letter, something like this, or I'm going to do a flying car, something like this, a flying car. So it's all not protected because simply it's not being reduced in writing. Only those reduced in writing are protected. Okay, those not reduced in writing are not protected. So we now know about copyright, more details. I have a quiz for you. If I'm doing the talk physically, I will dare to offer siapa dapat jawapan yang betul, saya akan belanja 3 hari 3 malam makan nasi kandar di Penang. Okay. But di sini berani juga. Walaupun tuan-puan online, boleh tolong jawab in the chat box. Okay, please write down your answers in the chat box. Okay, what is the duration of copyright? Do not Google. Immediate one. I cannot but read your answers. I don't know why it doesn't appear here. But you put it. And then I will look betul ke tidak. Macam mana nak tengok answers Check. 10 years nampak lah, boleh nampak. 3 to 6 months. Okay, mana 3 to 6 months, 10 years, 70 years, 50 years. A complete one. Dr. Rina binti Dari, 50 years, a complete one. No durations. Oh, Cik Dr. Muhammad, good one. 7 years. Lifetime. Wow. Oh, Dr. Azlan Zuhid is here. My good friend. Okay. Dr. Azlan Zuhid, Okay. Betul. Okay. Okay. As predicted, no one get the right answers, even though there is a near answers to it. The durations of copyright, you should fully know by now. It is 50 years, 50 tahun. But even though you are answering 50 tahun, ada answer 50 tahun, it's not the correct full answers. The correct full answers is like this. So, the correct full answers is 50 years after you pass away, after you die. This is a new thing. I think hopefully it's a new thing for you. How I'm going to illustrate to you. For example, you have an article, you have your thesis, etc. Does 50 years tick already? No, it's not yet because you still alive. You tak meninggal lagi. So the 50 years going to click after you pass away. So that's why, for example, Tan Sri P. Ramlee, keluarga dia still enjoy the royalty until recently. I think the going to due in 2024 next year, because the 50 years he passed away in 1974 or 1975, something like that. So the 50 years after he passed away going to be 2024 or 2025. Okay, so all the copyrights will be still existing. Okay, even in this case, the durations didn't tick yet, tak bermula lagi pun, simply because you still alive. Okay, So this is the beauty of 50 years of his death. Okay, so the duration of copyright sangat lama, 50 tahun daripada tarikh kematian author. So in US, they have amended it to 70 years. Malaysians are following suit since 2 to 3 years ago, but until today, the law still remains 50 years. But US has gone up to 70 years, 70 tahun after the death. Okay, so what about how to calculate if you have, you are an author for book A, but you have 3 authors. Okay, author number 1, author number 2, author number 3. And only author number 1 passed away. Author number 2 and 3 still alive. So the 50 years didn't tick yet. Tak bermula lagi pun. The 50 years tick on the death of the last author. Okay, so on how to circumvent it, okay, of course, if a book is over 10 years or 5 years old, older than that, you can have a revised version. Insert in another author, a new author, so that book going to have 4 authors now. Even the 50 years didn't tick yet because you have the new author on the revised version. Sampai macam tu sekali lah on the authorship. So hopefully you now fully aware. It's a 50 years, tak ada siapa mendapat nasi kandar sebab jawapan tak lengkap. 50 years after the death of the authors. If you have several authors, the death of the last author. So now you know the durations of copyright. What is the durations of plagiarism then? Are the durations for plagiarism? None. Because plagiarism is an offense. Apabila sesuatu an offense, there's no time limit, no time bar. Because it's considered one of the fraud things. So there's no time frame for plagiarism. So even though a particular academic staff or students doing the PhD, back in 2000, year 2000, so 23 years by now, still you can lodge a report on him or on her. So there's no durations of plagiarism. Copyright you tahu tadi 50 years, but plagiarism lagi hebat. There's no time limit for you. As long as you have the evidence, you can lodge a report on the plagiarism issue. Okay, I'm going to share with you a case. In USM, a real case happened in 2015. Okay, hopefully you can follow this case. In 2015, USM received a complaint about one plagiarism issue. To me, this is the most difficult plagiarism issue that I have ever dealt with. Okay, so when we receive that kind of complaint, we look at the facts of the complaints. We say, alamak, this is a very damn serious one. We need to set up a committee. In USM, the policy said that we do have investigation committee because the policy said so. So I'm one of the members of the committee since 2012. Okay, so back in 2015, we received this kind of complaint, and I can tell you that's the most difficult complaint that we ever received. Okay, what are the facts of the case? The fact of the case, please listen to this. Back in 1991, okay, one student of USM, an Indonesian, graduated for his master's degree. So 1991, let's say he graduated for master's degree, okay, and he further continue his PhD back to in Indonesia, let's say in year 1994 or 1995, okay, and he finished his PhD, got his PhD. Okay, so 1991, he did his master's degree with USM. 2015, after nearly how many years? 1981, 2000, 1981, 2001, 2000. After almost 24 years, a complaint came in saying that his master thesis is plagiarized from a PhD thesis of Gajah Mada 1987. So 1987 dikatakan dia plagiat satu PhD thesis 1987. Dia punya master degree 1991. So we do the checking. First, when we receive it, we take out the master's degrees, the physical copy of the master degree, master thesis. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, first of all, what do you expect from 1991 master thesis? The master thesis were full with strike through, garisan tengah, full with liquid paper, full with copy paste, full with blanco. Okay, and the old papers. Rupanya, in 1991 thesis was typed using the old traditional typewriter. Remember, 1991 there was no printer like what we have now. There's no computer at that point of time. People write thesis using the old typewriter. So if there is any mistake, they have to strike through or use the liquid paper. For the newcomers, new lecturers or new students inside our session today, do you know about liquid paper? Then you have to Google what is the liquid paper. Liquid paper, it has been rampantly used during the time in order to delete, in order to rectify or remedy the mistakes, the sentence inside your particular thesis. At that point of time, 1981, you have to be fully aware as well. There's no Mr. Google. There's no internet. There's no. There is a DS. We call it computer called DS2. DS2 and DS4 at that point, 1991. But that computer was very expensive at the time, and there's no printer like what we have nowadays. There was an old printer using the old thermal paper. Okay, so there was a thermal paper also inside our thesis as well. So the crux of the case, the crux of the complaint is like this. Okay, our students, master students, have plagiarized the work of PhD in 1987. Okay, then we get to know the complainant was originally a friend of our student. They are friends. They are both lecturers in Indonesia. But somehow our students finished his PhD and became a very successful academician to the level of he being elevated or being appointed as a dean in his particular university. So that episode continue with drama. When he be appointed as a dean, the friends are not happy, envy for it, and the friend lodged a complaint to USM for plagiarism. When we do the proper checking, we found out 6 pages out of 313 pages were verbatim plagiarized. We suspect for plagiarism. 6 out of 313. How many percent? You can imagine, it's less than 5%. Okay, but it's verbatim. It's totally verbatim from the thesis, PhD thesis of Gajah Mada, University of Gajah Mada. So at that point of time, we do the proper checking, etc. Then the complainant said that he plagiarized without his consent, whereby our student said that at that point of time, when they went back to Indonesia, go back to their Indonesian campus university, they met each other, and the complainant was the one who offered him to refer to his thesis. Remember, at the time there's no Google, there's no online search, etc. So it was an offer from him, from the complainant in 1991, for him to copy the thesis. That's why he said he copied the thesis. He admitted that he copied the whole lot, meaning that at least the 6 pages in verbatim, sama sebiji. Okay, so in this case, he admitted to it, but he said, the students, our USM students, refer or cite the original author from Holland, from Netherlands. Okay, but he didn't cite the French thesis, but he do the proper reference of the original thesis in Netherlands. Then only we realized that the PhD thesis of Gajah Mada was copied from the Netherlands book, whereby that complainant didn't do a proper citations. Then only we realize once we get the details from our students. We do the proper checking and it's true. The complainant was the one who plagiarized, not our students. So at the end of the day, we said that there's no case for plagiarism, but you may ask us, do we report against the complainants to the Gajah Mada? We didn't, because we said that it's up to our students whether he want to report or not, because we don't have the course of actions against the complainant, because the complainant has lodged a complaint to USM. If we report back to Gajah Mada, it's like something like revenge. So it's still, the university won't do that, but it's still up to our students to do the complaint or not. And at the end of the day, he didn't do. Okay, but to cut short the story, the decision was that our students has not plagiarized the 1987 thesis. But the main story, why I said that this is difficult, simply because you have to understand, if we, let's say we found out there is a plagiarism issue, we have to revoke, we have to withdraw back the master's degree of our USM students. And if we withdraw, what happened to his PhD? Because remember, the criteria, entry criteria for the PhD is the master's. If the master's is invalid, we withdraw. So what happened to the PhD? So that was among the main questions happened to us, but somehow God saved us. Allah saved us by giving us the real situations. Actually, the complainant was the one who plagiarized, not our students. You see, that's how difficult to deal with some plagiarism issue. Okay, so in this case, how to avoid allegations of stealing others? Of course, you have to code it, but there is also, if you are using it for copyright, you can use it for research purposes. Okay, if you are using for teaching and research purposes, you can use it, and it's not considered as breach of copyright. Okay, so it falls under the principle of fair use. I would say something like this. A good example is something like this. Let's say you found out your students in the library have in the library or outside the library, in the book, in the bookshop, they photocopy the whole of one book and for their reference. Is it breach of copyright? The answer is no, it's not breach of copyright. Okay, the said student, simply because he only copied one for himself, so it is for under his scholarship or for his own reference, so it is falls under the fair use. That's why any bookstores, any book publisher, they won't sue for any individual simply because it falls under the fair use. So remember, last time we've been threatened by you cannot photocopy one whole book, you can only photocopy 1 or 2 pages, 5 pages, etc. Actually, even though you can do the copy of the whole book, provided it is based on individual, your own purpose, for your own research or your own study, you can do so. The only thing that you are not allowed for the bookshop to photocopy, let's say 50 books or 10 books and sell it outright to the students. So it cannot be done. But the student can go to the bookstore and do the photocopying, not the bookstore. Make it ready, 10 copies, 50 copies, and start selling to the students. No, it cannot be done. That's not falls under fair use. The student can request, but not the bookstore. Okay. Plagiarism. Now you have some better understanding on plagiarism, because we are going to go for the second topic now, second subtopic now, on the which one that we should give more concerns. Okay, so this is the reason why we have the plagiarism policy. So the second issue is that how to identify plagiarism. Okay, now we are talking about plagiarism, how to plagiarize. So there are 4 types of plagiarism. You need to understand it. Copying, there are patchwork plagiarism, paraphrasing plagiarism, and unintentional plagiarism. All falls under plagiarism. Salah, wrong. Okay, but how to understand it? Okay, that's why you have to be. I give you an examples. Okay, Okay, I go to the examples first. Okay, this is the first example. If you look at this is a clear manifest, crystal clear plagiarism. Okay, you can read those in yellow, in red, and in blue. Okay, they are actually all the same, and it is called patchwork plagiarism. You are just patching or copying. Okay, you just one or two words only use. The authors has been changing it, and then definitely it's a totally plagiarism issue. So like this case, actually we go by way of there is a called patchwork plagiarism or copying. Okay, so this is one of the examples. There are a few examples that I'm going to share with you, but before that we go to the type of plagiarism. I said to you there are 4 types of plagiarism, but what is the most important thing is level of plagiarism. This is the most important thing, I think, in innovative way of how USM identify whether it is a serious offense or not a serious offense. Okay, bear with me. This is an important subtopic that I would like to share with you. Okay, for those complaints investigated by the plagiarism investigation committee need to identify at what level the plagiarism happened. So we have developed 4 levels of plagiarism. Okay, but on the yardstick of significance and intention. The significance and intention. Okay, if any plagiarism complaint decided by the committee at level 1, it means that the student can continue viva voce. Students can be graduated. 4 students. Okay, for the staff, the student will be reprimanded by way of an internal letter only, level 1. But if it falls under level 2, level 3, or level 4, for the students, he will not obtain his PhD or master's degree. Meaning that level 2, level 3, level 4, there is an issue of plagiarism. The viva voce stop, the student going to be brought over to disciplinary committees, and the student will be terminated. Okay. So level 2, level 3, level 4, there's no issues on giving opportunity or not. They will be brought over. Viva voce won't happen. Only those at level 1 will be allowed. So what are the things that considered at level 4? Of course, the ignorance, the insignificant. If there is some intent and some significant, it can be under level 2. Of course, significant but some intent, not too deliberate, will be level 3. But it is significant and deliberate is level 4. Paling worst lah, paling teruk, level 4. Okay. So I'm going to share with you some example as well. Okay. So remember, level 1, there is plagiarism, guilty of plagiarism, but can continue viva voce, can continue study. For the staff, will be reprimanded only. But level 2, level 3, level 4, level 4 for the staff going to be terminated. Level 4 for the students definitely not going to get the PhD or the master's degree. How about level 2 and level 3? Most of the time also didn't get the PhD because it's still considered as serious. So what are the things considered as level 1, level 2, and level 3? We do have some clarifications, explanations on it. Okay. If you remember, look at the tick number 3 on level 1. At this level, plagiarism does not amount to an academic misconduct. Okay. Okay. But if you are at level 2, look at tick number 3. Plagiarism at this level 2 is considered as academic misconduct. That's why I tried to explain level 2, level 3, level 4 is academic misconduct. The student will not going to get the master or the PhD thesis. Okay, level 3 and level 4. Level 4 is the most serious one. Definitely going to be terminated as soon as possible, not going to get the PhD, etc. Okay, these are the examples of plagiarism. Okay, this is another examples of plagiarism. Looking, this is paraphrasing plagiarism. Anyway, how to detect this? remember there is an application called Turn It In for the similarities check. But what I'm going to say to you, Turn It In is not a plagiarism check. Turn It In is a similarities check, meaning that it's not plagiarism check because it only shows you the similarities. You have to confirm whether the similarities is plagiarism or not. Okay, so but it's not a plagiarism per se tool. It only shows you the similarities, and this is how they highlight it, the similarities on these examples. Okay, these are the other examples of plagiarized items in conclusions chapter, whereby is considered as plagiarisms. Okay, that's how it works when it comes to plagiarism. You can itemize it and try to reflect it, and of course in this case is clearly on the plagiarisms. Okay, ini pula contoh satu tesis bahasa Melayu real one di USM. Bagaimanakah pelajar A yang telah bergraduan 2 tahun lepas telah tesisnya telah diplagiat oleh pelajar B yang bergraduan 2 tahun selepas pelajar A bergraduan. Okay, how this happen? Actually, pelajar B prior to the issue was not a USM student yet, but he has a good command of bahasa Melayu. Pelajar A is almost going to be a retired public servant. Okay, at the point of time he finished his PhD at the age of 57 years old. But he suddenly at that point of time been approached by student B. Student B offers his help to check the bahasas, grammar, etc. The bahasa Melayu's tata bahasa. And what happened? Pelajar A passed the whole of his thesis writing in a thumb drive, passed it to pelajar B. Pelajar B got it from pelajar A, the whole thumb drive. He do the checking, he do the amendments, he do the review, pass it back to pelajar A with a good bahasa Melayu amendment. Okay, pelajar A happy. There was no payment, and somehow there was thank you. Of course, thank you. Gesture has been exchanged. Pelajar A graduated. Pelajar B, once he knows that pelajar A graduated, he enrolled in USM as a student of PhD. And he finished his PhD in 2 years' time. And he used almost 90% of the thesis of pelajar A as his. Okay, he didn't do anything much other than to adapt those tata bahasa only. Okay, how USM discovered this happened to be the internal examiner of students A is the same internal examiner of student B. And the internal examiner found out that he has somewhere read about this kind of disease before, but he's not so sure. He checked up and he realized that yes, he has checked up. He has been the internal examiner for student A. And when he extract back the copy of the thesis of student A, he found out it's exactly 90% similar to student B. So this is the modus operandi of student B, of taking the whole thumb drive of student A and claim as his. Of course, he's been found guilty for plagiarism and be terminated, etc. So in this case, remember, if the internal examiner are different, maybe we are not going to we are not going to realize about this incident, but somehow it happened to be the same internal examiner because the same expert subject matter, they are the same in USM, of course. And he has been appointed as the internal examiner again for the student B. Okay, so these are the investigations, some of the investigation details of Plagiarism Committee, I do a quick one. How we do this? Okay, how we report the issues on the plagiarisms. This is a case of chapter. The similar chapters of plagiarism happen thoroughly throughout the whole thesis. So examples of the investigations committee decisions are titled almost the same research questions, same theories, same perspective, same initiative model, same instruments, etc. So these some are the findings that I'm going to share with you. Okay. These are some of the examples that I'm sharing with you. Okay, but let us investigate this plagiarism complaint. There was a complaint recently about from the internal examiner against PhD students. Okay, he said that chapter 2 of the students is similar to her thesis, her own thesis at page 118, for example. Okay, so the complaint came from the internal examiner, happened to be from the internal examiner, a young internal examiner, first time being appointed as internal examiner for PhD, and somehow we received this kind of complaint, about 6 complaints. Okay, I laid down to you that complaint. The allegation was also been mentioned. The structure of the theoretical framework has been copied. Data collection table is copied. Table 3.3 is copied. Copied from where? Copied from her own thesis. So she alleged the students copied from her thesis. Whereby when we do the investigation, the student didn't know the internal examiner, didn't know the complainant. So we look at, this is the student work. If you look at the student work, this is the diagram that has been accused for plagiarism. Okay, then we compare with the diagram that the internal examiner alleged that this student has plagiarized. So this is the examiner's diagram. Somehow we say that it's totally different. If you look at this, the details, is it the same? So the internal examiner alleged that the background diagram is similar, but we say that the background diagram doesn't matter. The main important thing is the content of the diagram. Is the content of the diagram similar? She said that no, the diagram, even though the content is not similar, but the diagram is the same. So this is one of the case whereby some of the plagiarism complaints are baseless, have no merit at all. This is examples whereby remember those the details in white is from the complainant. The blue one from the students is totally not similar. So at the end of the day, these are the whole 7 complaint of the internal examiner were found baseless. Not even one. These are some of the details that we found out. They are not even similar at all. Okay. Of course, this is not considered as plagiarism, simply because it's a normal thing that we need to do the literature review. Okay, so some of the things. Okay, in fact, the student works and the from the internal examiners are totally not similar. So at the end of the day, we found out that the students did not plagiarize the supervisors. Okay, I come to the most important case law that I would like to share with you. This is the only case law about plagiarism. Just now, during the beginning, you may wonder, the speaker says that if it is in court, it's not considered as plagiarism. Why somehow now he said that court case, but it is a plagiarism case? Okay. I'd like to clarify to you something like this. Plagiarism cannot be sued in court. I still maintain the statement that I made at the early stage of this talk. But this case, they talk about plagiarism. Why? Okay, actually, this case, the plagiarism issue is not the main issue. The main issue is this. The main issue is Fauzilah Saleh, an academic staff of UMT, University Malaysia Terengganu, have been dismissed from her post, have been terminated from her post as a lecturer, simply because she has committed plagiarism, and UMT, when found out that she has committed plagiarism, brought it over to disciplinary action, but didn't give the right of hearing to her, the right for her to defend her case. Bring it over to the disciplinary committee and somehow immediately dismiss her from the post, dismiss her as a lecturer. So she sued UMT simply because she has not been given the right of hearing. UMT found out she has committed plagiarism and dismissed her. That's all. So she's not happy. She engaged, if someone remember, is her lawyer is Tun Saleh Abbas. You may wonder, Fauzilah Saleh, the lawyer is Saleh Abbas. Is it the daughter of Saleh Abbas? No. Is coincidentally Fauzilah binti Saleh, but Tun Saleh Abbas is not her dad. Tun Saleh Abbas is her attorney, lawyer. The former Ketua Hakim Negara, yeah, okay, was appointed as her lawyer and fight for University Malaysia Terengganu. So in this case, the main issue is that he has been dismissed from the post without proper hearing. However, the court has discussed about the plagiarism issue. The court says that 35% of Fauzilah Saleh thesis has been taken from the doctoral dissertation of Professor Madya Dr. Nick Kamaria. Even though the plaintiff have acknowledged her sources of information, the plaintiff did not do the citations. What did she did? She only used mention about Professor Nick Kamaria in the acknowledgement at the front page only, not the citations and not on the reference. Okay, she only put Professor Madya Dr. Nick Kamaria at the acknowledgement. Remember the acknowledgement, terima kasih kepada keluarga dan sebagainya. Then she mentioned there about Professor Dr. Nick Kamaria. So the court says that, okay, even though she has committed plagiarism, but the UMT need to give her the right of hearing, need to get her to reply back, to respond back why she cannot be terminated from the post. And in this case, UMT failed to do so. So in this case, this is where the court says that university need to have a proper writing guidelines. That's why, remember, this case is 2012 case. 2012, remember up there, Fauzilah Saleh versus UMT 2012. 2013, because of this case, USM has drafted the guidelines or the policy on plagiarism. Okay, so this is the where I said that we call it obiter of the court, asking the university to have a proper guidelines for the students. Okay, to that. Okay, this is where the court found out how many percentage of plagiarized things happen in the thesis of Fauzilah Saleh. You can see first chapter, second chapter, third chapter, 60%, third chapter. Fourth chapter, 58%. Fifth chapter is 13%, the conclusion chapter. So, even though she been found guilty for plagiarism, but in this case, she won the case in court, simply because UMT failed to give her right of hearing. The court says plagiarism happened, but the procedures later on was not followed. Okay. The procedures to terminate her. So in this case, what we need to do is that as long as she Fauzilah Saleh do the proper citation, she will not be found guilty for plagiarism. In this case, she has been found guilty because she has not done a proper citation. She just insert the name of Professor Madya Dr. Nik Kamara in the acknowledgement at the front page only. Okay, but not on the citations at the page that she has been taking the source. So this is how it happened for plagiarism. So it's a manifest plagiarism issue. The court also agree with the findings that she has plagiarized. Okay, look at these details. Okay, can you read this article, 2019 article, for a minute? I will ask you a question. Okay, my question is, adakah ini kes copyright atau plagiarism? Can you write down in the chat box? Is it a copyright or plagiarism?
Seems to be copyright.
It's copyright, yes. Okay, other answers, please. Okay, it's a copyright. Why is a copyright? You can see it's a lawsuit. That's the first indication. The second indication is about 10 million or 1.5 million, etc. You are talking about compensation or damages. So this is not a plagiarism. This is called falls under the copyright because it involves court, it involves compensation. Remember, if you want to sue somebody for money, you have to sue it under the way of breach of copyright in court. If you want to lodge a complaint, then lodge a complaint for plagiarism. It does not have the power to get money or not, or what. It only have the power to get the students not to obtain the PhD, fail to obtain the PhD, or if a staff, he or she going to be demoted, turun pangkat, or going to be terminated, buang kerja. Okay, so that's how it works with this thing. Okay, so you may ask, in the case of students who plagiarize, what happened to the supervisors? Do we need to take action against the supervisors? In USM, the law says that thesis belong to students, not to the supervisors. So in this case, the students will be, we will take action against the student, but the supervisors, if his or her students be involved in plagiarism, the supervisors will only be issued a letter of reprimand, a warning letter. Okay, we will not take actions against the supervisor. Why? What are the rationales? It's not fair. The supervisors does not own the thesis. The students own the thesis. So in USM, I can only share with you that we will not take action against the supervisor. We will only take actions against the student. So what is the role of the supervisor? Of course, his good name going to be tarnished, but the supervisor's responsibility is to ensure that plagiarism did not happen. But of course, the supervisor did not have full capacity in order to check the whole lot of the student's thesis. That's why if plagiarism happen, only the students will be answerable because the students understand, knows whereabout of his original source has been taken, whether he or she has been where he has copied those original source and why he or she didn't do the proper citation. So to answer you directly, no action, discrimination, no discrimination against the supervisors, only against the students. So that's how it works here. Okay, what is the responsibility of the internal external examiner? They need to report if they suspect or they found out there is a plagiarism issues happen inside their the thesis that they have been mandated for. Okay, turn it in. How many percentage is considered plagiarism? There is actually, if you are talking about 20% percentage of plagiarism or 25% percentage of plagiarism, is wrong. Actually, 1%, 2% also can be considered as plagiarism. But the one that you are been hearing about 20 or 25% is the percentage for you to be allowed to submit the thesis for the student. 20 or 25%, in USM 25%, some university 20%, turn in similarities, then only if below 20 or 25%, you are allowed to submit the thesis for viva voce. But it does not mean is the plagiarism, no element of plagiarism. Element of plagiarism still need to be, we need to go through the details manually, because turn it in is only a similarity check. Again, I repeat it again twice now. It's not a plagiarism check. So remember, 1 or 2%, 3% also can be considered as plagiarism. The one that you heard about 20 to 25% is to allow you to submit for viva voce. That's all. Okay. ChatGPT, is it been allowed? Is it been allowed? Is it considered as plagiarism or not? Of course, it's considered as plagiarism. But do we allow ChatGPT? Yes, ChatGPT is allowed in USM. Simply because it's considered as one of a way in order to do the reference. But be careful to all the students. You cannot take the whole lot verbatim of what GPT has been laying down to you, because you need to restructure it, re-amend it. Similar, you have to consider ChatGPT as a way of you refer to a particular physical book. That's all. Even though ChatGPT give you a suggested answers, etc. But what I would like to say to you is a very controversial issue. Can ChatGPT be a co-author to you? In a particular case, it already happened already. This is the recent Elsevier publications back in January 2023. I've been informed there are many more other than this as well. In 2023, ChatGPT has been inserted as the co-author in a particular peer-reviewed paper. So it's a norms now, but in Malaysia, it's still not been accepted fully. But I would like to say that we may go towards that directions. ChatGPT going to be named as the co-author. Of course, not corresponding author, but as a co-author. But at least I would like to say to you. So some universities didn't allow ChatGPT. If you look at those exceptions from the newspaper, parties that support ChatGPT at one time is lesser than parties or universities that disallow ChatGPT. But in USM, we do allow ChatGPT. These are the things that we do announcement from our Deputy Vice Chancellor, panduan penggunaan teknologi ChatGPT or AI, we call it AI in general, but definitely, in short, we are allowing people to use ChatGPT, we are allowing our students to use ChatGPT, but do it responsibly, do it with responsibility is the most important thing. Definitely, if you are taking the whole lot in verbatim from ChatGPT, the internal or external examiner, the supervisors will definitely can notice it easily. Okay, so you have to jive your ChatGPT's answers with your own English level. You have to review, reorganize it into the level of your English. It cannot be done at the first page is a ChatGPT's answers. At the first page, which is your ideas, your handwritings, your writings, your original writings, whereby it's totally didn't jive between each other. So you need to be jive. Okay, so in USM, I just have, I'm going to share with, I already share with the slide with Puan Fauzia. Puan Fauzia may want to share with you those slides because it's at 11:35 already now. So these are the announcement made to USM, by USM to all the staff and to all the students. Okay, so just some details here. Okay, cause of plagiarism. Okay, what happen if the plagiarisms happen? The universities, including IIUM, can withdraw the degree. Okay, so of course, what are the original powers lies is under our constitutions. I believe it's the same constitution being used, applied by IUM, even though you are registered under Companies Act, we are under the AUKU, but these deprivations or withdrawal of the degree is always similar to the all the 20 public universities in Malaysia. Okay, so what are the plagiarism statistics in USM? Go back to since 2017. We have 4 cases in 2017. Out of 4 cases, you said that 3 cases found guilty. And case number 2, 3, and 4 are found guilty, and as a result, they are not able to graduate. Look at the plagiarism case in 2018. 2018, there are 3 cases, but 2 cases were found guilty at level 4. Level 4 is meaning that level the most difficult one. Look at the number 1 and number 3. Number 2 is about complaint about the staff, husband and wife, ex-husband and ex-wife, complaint letter withdrawn. I will share with you if we have time shortly. Okay, in 2019, we have 5 cases, whereby only 1 case considered as at level 3. Serious, is a misconduct. Number 1 until number 4 is considered at level 1. It means that the students continue to for the Viva Wase and have received their PhD and Masters respectively. Case number year 2020. Case year 2020 is we have 4 cases, where 1 case is considered as level 3, and it involves a lecturer. I will share with you shortly what are the case all about. It's at level 3 lecturer, and as a result, discrimination has been taken against the lecturer. Okay. Level 2021 not guilty. 2022 there were 3 cases, 1 considered as misconduct, so that students didn't continue with the PhD, didn't obtain his PhD. So you can see most of the cases here involve PhD and Masters. Only a few cases involve staff. Okay, so what are the case in 2020 case of involving staff? Okay, there was a case whereby an ex-supervisor for an ex-student of USM, a PhD student, graduated already, go back to her university to continue teaching. Okay, she's under the scheme of SLAB, SLAB. But after she finished her PhD, she found out 6 months after she finished, she found out that her supervisors has taken her chapter 4 of her thesis and published it as the supervisor's article without putting her name at all, without getting her acknowledgement or consent to publish that article. It's totally chapter 4 of her thesis. Okay, as a result, she complained to USM, and we started investigation. When we started investigation, the most interesting part is that the complaint was not the first complaint. The supervisor has done it before twice. But since the student was still a student, PhD student, the students reported to the dean, and the dean amicably resolved it at their level without letting the university know. Meaning that the 2 articles before has been they notify back the publisher, and then the student's name has been inserted. But again, this lecturer, this supervisor, she did it again when the student graduated. She thought that the student didn't know, but the students fully monitor her about the publication, and this time she has finished her PhD and she didn't want to withdraw. She proceeded with the complaint. She said that this lecturer need to be taught a lesson. So as a result, the investigation committee has been set up, and this lecturer has been found guilty of plagiarism. She's an associate professor, and we brought her to disciplinary actions, and she has been dismissed from post. Now I heard that she's now not in Malaysia. She is currently teaching in Thailand, Bangkok, simply because she been well known for plagiarism. but she's now in overseas in Bangkok as a lecturer in one of the Thailand's universities in Bangkok. So this is a case in 2020. 2023, we have 5 cases already until September 2023. So the statistics are there, but we are not going to share with you. So a brief one on this experience from USM. An undergraduate plagiarized senior final assignment. Tuan-tuan dan puan, I said to you, undergraduate, we are not going to investigate under plagiarism. We just ask the said lecturer to put F, fail, to the seniors, to the undergraduates final assignment or final year assignment. You know why we advise so? Because for undergraduate, final year assignment is only one component of several other subjects. It's one component only. Unlike PhD or master by research, we only rely for the thesis alone. So for the final year assignments, that's why we didn't investigate under the investigation committee of plagiarism, because we will straight away advise to give F for the undergraduate. And if it is serious, they can be brought over to tata tertib, the discriminations, but not going to affect the whole of his or her studies as an undergraduate. So it's totally different from the PhD or master by research. Lecturer plagiarized her student's work. This is the case that I said to you just now. 2020, plagiarized her PhD student work. C, a senior academician plagiarized PowerPoint slide for presentation. If PowerPoint, okay, we give a reprimand letter, a warning letter, but we did not bring that senior academicians to tata tertib, because it's a PowerPoint is totally different from the articles or journals or books. Okay, that's how it happened. The ex-student just now plagiarism happened in 1984, the one that I said, the Indonesians, the two in Gajah Mada just now. A PhD student, fraud or manipulation of data. Manipulation of data is always about it's not about plagiarism, it's a fraud, manipulation of data. We have 15 minutes to go. Maybe the last slide. Can you read this case law to share? There are 2 pages of PowerPoint slides. This case happened in 2010. Second page. Okay, I explain to you. Back in 2010, remember this is a copyright case. Why copyright case? Because it involved court. It involved 750,000 damages. So what happened in copyright? Remember I said to you just now, copyright is no need to register. In this case, one national artist, Datuk Syed Ahmad, he passed away recently about 2 years ago. He was the one who designed this sculpture, the ark sculpture, satu binaan. He was the one who designed this sculpture, and he gave it free to DBKL, Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. He gave it free without any sense. However, 10 years later, DBKL has demolished that sculpture, the ark. Once demolished, they built a new one without his consent. So this national artist, Datuk Syed, was not happy. Okay, this is the original structure back in 1986. Okay, and somehow he give it free to DBKL, and DBKL accept it without any payment, and somehow DBKL demolish it without his consent and build a new one. He's not happy, he sued DBKL. DBKL defense was that he give it free to DBKL, so there's no issue at all for DBKL to demolish and build a new one. But the court says no. The original one you still need to get consent because it's under the law of copyright. Okay, law of copyright. Even though he give it free, he's still the author. and any alteration, modifications, demolition need to get his consent. And as a result, from free, he get this 750,000 award of damages from the High Court to this Datuk Syed Ahmad. So I would just want to show to you that even though it's free, they are still need to get consent, even though they wanting to do any modifications, etc. Okay, tadi ada Dr. Ozaliati, tak salah saya, tanya tentang ambil gambar tentang. This is one of the examples whereby USM in 2014, one of our photographers has taken a few photos, nice photos from the websites. He cropped those watermarks and claim as his, and use it use those photos in our website. Somehow the original author or the original owner of that photos called me up asking me to pay 10,000. He called the landline. So immediately when I pick up the phone, I said that, who are you? I thought it's a scam. But later on, and I said that I won't layan him, I won't entertain him, and if he want to get money, just sue us in court. And somehow he used the social media in order to show that USM has no integrity for using his photo. Then only I realized that our photographers has used his photo without his consent. And at the end of the day, he has done the Getty Images watermarks on the photos. Suppose those images need to be paid, and at the end of the day, the original price is only about 20 ringgit, and it come out to 10,000 ringgit for the 6 photos that we have, simply because we have used it without his consent. Okay, so this is some of the issues that we do have. Okay, I think I stop here. We have roughly about 10 minutes to go. Do you have any questions, Mr. Moderator? If the peserta have any.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Dr. Khairul, for the very interesting and informative sharing. Since we are moving on to question and answers, we have collected few questions. There are questions regarding ChatGPT, but I observe it has been answered by Dr. Khairul earlier. Maybe I start with Sister Aida Kesuma. Kalau my colleague produce a book based on the contents of a copyrighted core subject report that included my name and another colleague. However, our names were not included in the book, but she has included another 2 colleagues who were not involved in the process and publication of the copyright report. What kind of action can I take?
Okay, the kind of action that you can take is not plagiarism, but it is unethical things in publication. So what you need to do is to do a complaint. But the most effective one is how and where to complain, where you should do the lodgement of the complaint. Okay, the most effective one is to complain to the employer of that particular staff. So if it's within the IIUM, you can lodge a complaint to the rector of IIUM or to the any higher authority in IIUM for such these non-integrity actions. But if he or she coming from other universities, I strongly advise you to write down to that particular university. Okay, jot down the whole details, fact of the case, why your name and your friend's name has not been included, whereby you are the contributor yang turut sama menghasilkan, tiba-tiba nama dikeluarkan. Of course, the state university, the complaint will need to be investigated. Investigation will listen to both parties. Okay. In this case, involving publication, do not use the poison pen letter, because the university need to call you for evidence. If you are using the poison pen letter without putting your name, etc., it didn't go on the right track. So you have to put your name, that particular paper, name the first author that has failed to insert your name, and clarify it inside your letter, and that's the best way to go by way of complaint. Okay, but what the most important thing that I would like to emphasize, complain to the right person. Do not complain to him. You can complain to him if you want to go for amicable settlement. But if you don't want to go for amicable settlement because you have talked to him and tried to resolve it, but it didn't be resolved, then only send it to the employer of that particular institutions. Yes, Tuan, itu saja. Tak dengar Tuan Adi. Dia you apa? You mute Tuan Adi.
Okay, thanks, Doctor. Another question from Brother Shazwan. Can Doctor discuss the implications of self-plagiarism in academia, when it is considered acceptable to reuse your own work, and when does it cross the line into academic misconduct?
Okay, this is very good questions. I didn't touch on it at all. Whereby our policy on plagiarism of USM, self-plagiarism is wrong. It's wrong thing. You can be taken into actions for self-plagiarizing your own work. So if you want to cite your own work, if you want to use your own work into your new articles, new thesis, it means that you have to cite your own self. People are saying that, how I'm going to cite my own self? Angkat bakul sendiri ke? It does not proper, it does not make sense at all. But in academic, self-plagiarism is wrong. If you are referring to your own article, you have to cite yourself. So in this case, it's not about angkat bakul. It's not about, it does not make sense. It is the right thing to cite yourself. It's right thing to cite yourself. So in short, if you are referring to your articles, your own articles, you need to cite yourself. Of course, you have to lay down to cite the reference number, the reference title, the year, etc. You have to do it. Okay, that's the first important thing. So do cite yourself. Okay. So how to avoid being accused for self-plagiarism? You do your own citations. Okay. But the problem is, if you are hearing that self-plagiarism is really very tricky, because some of the Malaysian-based researchers, they are citing their own self in order to get citation index high, etc. That is the unethical things on the other perspective. Okay, because they are the renowned researcher, they are tarnishing their own image by citing their own self in order to get KPI, in order to get highly cited, etc. That's totally the other sides of the well-known researchers. But my advice to a new postgraduate students, to the postgraduate students, to PhD candidates, you have to cite yourself. Okay, so the other issue, Mr. Adi, sekejap, Mr. Adi, the other issue is something like this. You are working on your PhD thesis, but somehow the criteria of IIUM or USM, you need to publish 2 papers. Okay, so you do the publication first. And then your thesis, then you complete your thesis in 1 year or 2 years time after the publication. So what happened to your publication? You need to cite your own articles. That's how it works. Okay, itu satu situasi. Sebab how I'm going to cite in my own thesis, PhD thesis, my own article from my own chapter. That's why you have to do it in order to avoid self-plagiarism. That's all, Mr. Adi.
Doktor ada masa lagi untuk kita?
Saya ada lagi, boleh.
Okay. Ada satu soalan from Mr. Kugan. Does the Limitation Act apply to plagiarism?
No. Limitation Act does not apply to plagiarism for 2 things. One is that plagiarism is not a matter in court. Second one, even it is matter in court, it is involving fraud, penipuan. Fraud does not have any time limit. Penipuan does not have time limit. Coercion, paksaan, fraud, misrepresentation, etc. are not bound by Limitation Act. Okay. So plagiarism does not have any time limitation. You can do the need. Okay. Copyright, you want to sue people, that has the limitation. 6 years from the cause of action arose. Okay.
Okay. Another question, Doctor, from Brother Habibullah. Could Doctor please explain briefly about paraphrasing? What is the right way to do it?
Okay, paraphrasing, yes, there may be some confusions how to do it. Okay, paraphrasings. Okay, if you really taking a phrase, a paragraph phrase, and put it into your thesis, my advice is just do the citations. Do a citations, because or you are not doing the citations, you are being alleged as committing plagiarism. The other way around, you take one paragraph, you reorganize it, active going to change it from active sentence to the non-active sentence, etc. It doesn't mind, but you have to transform or reorganize the whole lot on the paragraph. But my strong advice for this kind of question is that if you know that you are taking the whole lot of the paragraph, you just make sure that you do the proper citation, proper reference. That's all I'm going to advise you. Ada lagi ke Cik-Adik? Di sini pun saya tengok di sini ya. Saya tengok di sini. Sekejap ya. Cik-Adik, saya ambil soalan di sini. Boleh ya? Nampak kan saya punya ni? Cik-Adik nampak kan? During my primary school ada. Yes. YouTube question. Can you discuss picture of surgeon? How can... Okay. How do academic publishers handle the balance between protecting integrity and supporting open access? What impact do these challenges have on the academic world? Okay, this is an important question by Mr. Shazwan. How do academic publishers handle the balance between protecting intellectual property and supporting open access? Okay. Protecting intellectual property. Dengar saya ke? Doktor?
Dengar, Doktor. Dengar.
Okay. Okay, this is a good question from Mr. Shazwan. Okay. How do academic publishers handle the balance between protecting intellectual property and supporting open access? In USM, if you are protecting intellectual property, let's say, for example, a particular thesis has a very potential prototype to be commercialized. Okay, in that case, all the internal and external examiner have to sign the non-disclosure agreement. Okay, but we do it very rare. At this point of time, I would say a year, only one case, only we do that kind of resorting that kind of non-disclosure agreement is very rare. Okay, so why is very rare? Because we normally advise the supervisor and the student to protect the intellectual property by using a code name. A code name. For example, we do have industrial PhD from, let's say, Intel. The Intel they found out a new kind of chips that going to be havoc in the world. So what they plan to do is that use the word code, for example, ACW135Y, something like that. ACW135Y. So they are using the code. So you can either use by way of non-disclosure agreement or by a code name. Okay. Then how code name going to be verified during Viva Voce? During the Viva Voce, they will explain more on the code. What are the real code actually? But inside the data, there is you use the code name. But during 5 hours say, then can explain what these things are all about. Okay, that's what impact do this terrorism have on academic work? Definitely, if you are publishing it, then it's in public domain, then you lost out for the commercialization. So we don't want that to happen as well. What is the ethical view of copying text from the chat GPT? I already answered that. Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. I think the issue is whether it's allowed or not in the first place. Okay, Dr. Azlan Zuhaid, my friend, okay, I think the issue of ChatGPT is whether it is allowed or not. I think best it is allowed. Okay, that's what we in USM are doing. To be honest with you, UPM also doing the same thing. I'm not sure about the other universities. UPM and USM, we allow ChatGPT because when we weigh between these two, it is more beneficial to be allowed rather than not to be allowed. But the ChatGPT also need to be used responsibly, similar to the books. Whether you can do the reference, of course you can do the reference, but you cannot do the plagiarism. Okay, that's two different things. Okay. Can you explain a bit more on fair use in copyright? Okay, Dr. Azlan Zuhaid, fair use in copyright meaning that if you are using it for non-profit and you are using it for research and education, anything you do will not be breaching of copyright. For example, okay, YD, the publisher YD says that you are now photocopying, you are now using his slides, 20 slides during your teaching time, and because you are being paid by IIUM, so that's a breaching of copyright. No, simply because you are using it in class in public universities for students to learn. So in this case, you are not breaching copyright because the court will say that it's a fair use. You are using it for teaching and research, in this case for teaching. So bear in mind, if you are not for business, you are using it for teaching and research, particularly in the university, no one can sue you for breach of copyright. Okay. So in this case, for example, the photos that I mentioned to you, juru gambar ambil photos tanpa kebenaran tadi, why this is under academia, but the photo being used for our USM website, not for teaching. That's why we are breach of the copyright. Okay, so totally different. Even though it is university's website, university is for teaching and research, but it is fairly for website, not for teaching in class, not for research in lab, not for research in class. That's not protected under the fair use. Okay, that's all, Mr. Adi, saya rasa.
Okay, Doktor, baik. Alhamdulillah, meriah soalan Doktor ya. Okay, I guess we have come to an end of our program. To allow Dr. Khairul to fulfill his other commitment, we would like to express our deep appreciation to Dr. Khairul Anwar. We are very privileged to have had the opportunity to benefit from his insight and experience. It is hoped that it will increase our knowledge and strengthen good governance, as well as culture integrity and good values within IIUM. Before we end, we seek everyone's cooperation to join for a photo session. We seek, please activate your camera for our photo session. Okay, 1, 2, 3, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Saya nampak
Again,
Prof. Zainul Ahmad Rajiun, kawan lama saya ni, nampak juga.
Sehat ke?
Sihat, Prof. Kawan Adelaide ni.
Yeah. Thanks for the nice talk. I think it's very beneficial and very knowledgeable that we got today. Very benefit lah. Thank you very much.
okay, Alhamdulillah. So again, thank you, Dr. Khairul. We thank everyone for your participation in this program. We end our program with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Wal-As.
Thank you all. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, with that, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Recording dia dalam YouTube ke?
Nanti MSD upload kak?
Dalam YouTube, Kak Ozat, dalam YouTube ILUM MSc Competency.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.